All right. We are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Huge news today. Before we get started, if you guys hear a screaming baby in the background, I want you to be assured my wife gave me permission to stream this big news this morning, and she's watching the baby. I'm not leaving my baby to vent for himself. I just want to put that out there as a very first point, because you may hear a screaming baby, you may hear a bunch of things going on in the background, but no need to worry. No need to worry. Yeah. So we got the decision here from the CMA, and it's I think for a lot of people, a very surprising decision based off of all of the information, all of the stuff that was out in the public, all of the news articles, all of the professional analysts and what they were saying, what they thought was going to happen. The CMA has blocked this deal, right? So as we know, what's been going on so far with this deal has been, there was three things the CMA was looking at: the consoles, the cloud, and the enforcement. And as I've been saying in many of my videos recently, talking about Activision Blizzard, is I thought it was a very good sign that they changed their opinion on the console side of things, and basically that they looked at it and thought that there was no anti-competitiveness with this deal, where it would allow Microsoft to partially or fully foreclose PlayStation and destroy their console market. But where I wasn't sure where the CMA was going to land on, which was, I thought, was much more important in my mind than the actual console side, was the cloud. And that's what's essentially blocked this deal, the cloud gaming side of things, which again is also still very surprising, because we know Microsoft has made all of those 10-year deals, right, with allowing all of these games onto these other cloud platforms and wanting to basically give Call of Duty, not just Call of Duty. One thing people don't keep in mind is that they didn't just offer Call of Duty for 10 years to all of these cloud platforms. They offered Call of Duty as well as the Activision catalog of games to all of these cloud platforms. So I thought that because they were making these 10-year deals, it would most likely alleviate the concerns for the CMA, but clearly that isn't the case. And here we are. The CMA has blocked the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition. And what does all of this mean? Is it over? Is it done? Did Sony win? Honestly, I think Sony did win. I do think that this is, I know they're saying they can appeal and all of this type of stuff, but we'll go through all of the statements that has come out. The CMA blocking this deal is a huge step against Microsoft, a huge step against this deal going through, I believe. And I do believe at some point it is going to fall just completely apart. And we'll see what happens. So let's read through what the CMA said. We'll read through the Bobby Kotick response. We'll also read through Brad Smith and his response to this deal and what they are going to be doing with appealing, what that appeal process entails. Because I don't fully understand the appeal process, but from the little bit that I've read this morning, because I've had a busy morning, I've had to do like real work stuff, been running around, literally just got back in, gonna have to jump out again later. From what I understand, this could drag this thing on for another couple of years, which would be just extremely frustrating from a gamer's perspective. It's almost like it's going on too long now, but let's read this, okay? So here's the press release. Microsoft Activision deal prevented to protect innovation and choice in cloud gaming. The CMA has prevented Microsoft's proposed purchase of Activision over concerns the deal would alter the future of the fast-growing cloud gaming market, leading to reduced innovation and less choice for UK gamers over the years to come. So the final decision to prevent the deal comes after Microsoft's proposed solution failed to effectively address the concerns in the cloud gaming sector outlined in the Competition Markets Authority provisional findings published in February. So obviously, what they are saying is that those 10-year deals were not nearly good enough to alleviate any of the concerns that the CMA had over cloud gaming. And I saw a very interesting tweet that does make calls into question what they're thinking. I think like cloud gaming is like 1 point whatever billion of the entirety of the global gaming market, which is like over 100 and some billion, something like crazy like that. So it's a very small section of the gaming industry, yet they're using it as the main pillar to try to block it, or to block this thing. They've blocked it, right? And makes you question. It really does make you question, do they understand the gaming industry? Do they understand what's going on, or do they understand the motives of the company who has argued against this deal on a lot of the stuff that they make? So that part is just confusing for a lot of people. And if you're out there and you're thinking like, I thought this deal was going to go through, the news was hyping it up, the analysts, the lawyers, all of these people were saying that it looked like it was going to go through, and you're confused right now. I mean, it's absolutely okay to be confused and say that you got it wrong, because everyone was saying it was going to go through. All of the people who were experts were saying it was going to go through. They all got it wrong. Think about like Michael Patcher saying it was going to go through. He was wrong. Foss Patton saying it was going to go through. He was wrong. All of these other big people who thought that it was going to go through, they were all wrong. And so a lot of people right now are very confused as to what's going on. It says Microsoft entered into a $68.7 billion deal to buy Activision, one of the most popular video game publishers in the world. In January 2022, the CMA launched an in-depth review of the deal in September 2022, and in February 2023, provisionally found that the merger could make Microsoft even stronger in cloud gaming, stifling competition in this growing market. Raymond Learmonth with the joining Plume Pass. Appreciate that. I should probably shout that out. I always forget to shout out. If you guys want to help, just support the channel. It's $1 a month, literally, and you just get some cool badges and stuff, and you become a member of Plume Network. And I would really appreciate that if you guys are interested. If not, that's cool. Cloud gaming concerns. The UK gaming market is growing fast. Monthly active users in the UK more than tripled from the start of 2021 to the end of 2022. It is forecast to be worth 11 billion globally and 1 billion in the UK by 2026. By way of comparison, sales of recorded music in the UK in 2021 amounted to 1.1 billion. So they're saying that like this thing is growing, and they're afraid that if they allow this deal to go through, it will give Microsoft such a big advantage. It won't allow other players to jump in. Microsoft has a strong position in cloud gaming services, and the evidence available to the CMA showed that Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision's games exclusive to its own cloud gaming service. Now, the irony of this entire thing here, it is true. Microsoft is extremely strong in cloud gaming. Like Microsoft being so strong in cloud gaming and that being a part of their entire ecosystem is literally what blocked this deal. If we were still in the traditional way of gaming where it was just consoles, this deal would be going through, you would assume, right? But because Microsoft is such a big player in cloud gaming, and they're really the only company so far that has actually had any impact on bringing cloud gaming to the market, like to a more mainstream part of the market. You think about PS Now, that started years ago before Xbox had Xbox Cloud Gaming. They failed essentially. Like their cloud gaming service wasn't good. Think about Google Stadia. They failed at the shutdown. Think about Amazon Luna, which is still available, but like who uses Amazon Luna? I don't know that many people that use Amazon Luna. Xbox Cloud Gaming is really the only prominent big company or big player in cloud gaming, and that's essentially what's blocked this deal. Microsoft having that infrastructure with Azure, being as powerful as they are, $1 trillion company, to be able to be the biggest player right now in cloud gaming is what has blocked this deal. Sourbill 18 with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that, Sourbill. Also, guys, make sure tonight 7 p.m. Xbox International podcast. I will share a community post. The stream will be starting at 7 p.m. We'll be talking about this for sure. Obviously, this is the biggest thing going on. So make sure to tune in 7 p.m. on the Xbox International YouTube channel to have some great conversation. I think you guys won't want to miss this one. There's going to be a PlayStation guy there. There's going to be a lot of debate back and forth. So make sure to tune in. But Starblow18 says Microsoft is appealing. Does this mean we will have another year of little to no first party games? I mean, that's the question, right? That's where I think people are going to be upset. Is if this continues to drag on, how is this affecting the Microsoft business? And as a gamer, as a consumer, you're sitting there and like, yeah, sure, some people want this deal really to go through. It's like what they love Call of Duty, they love the Activision catalog, and they knowing that if this deal goes through, if they win their appeal, right, they get all these games on Game Pass. But are they alienating their base by putting all of their efforts into this deal? Because with the appeal, right, it's going to last another number of years. or at least another number of months, however long it takes. To me, I'm at this point, I'm just like, just abandon it. Who cares at this point? Take that, pay the $3 billion, take that money that you have, that you wanted to invest in this, and just go and buy smaller studios and other awesome games out there, because there are plenty out there if they want to go and buy a bunch of stuff, or take all that billions of dollars that they were going to spend on this acquisition and go reinvest it into the 26 studios they have, 23 studios, whatever it is, reinvest it into that, and make sure that every single first party Xbox game that comes out from here on out is just the highest of high quality. There's no more 30 FPS debacle stuff. You don't have the media coming out here and being hyperbolic about Xbox dying and all of this stupid stuff that goes on whenever they make a misstep. Make sure that that stuff is all fixed. I would say that would be a smarter investment. But I think what Xbox here is thinking is that, like, they want that mobile side of gaming, because that's where it's the easiest way to make money, right? Mobile games are the easiest way to make money, you would assume. I don't have any factual data to back this up, so don't quote me on it, but I'm guessing it is the easiest way to make money, lower development costs, easier access to the market. Everyone has a phone, a lot less marketing. You have all that spam marketing you see on social media where people just click on, show these games nonstop. Like, you see smaller games even doing well because of all that spam marketing. Like, it's probably the easiest way to make money, and that's what they're thinking about this deal. And that's why they want it to go through so badly. But again, like I said, Microsoft being such a strong player in cloud gaming, Microsoft being forward thinking as to where the industry is going, hurt them in this deal, which is crazy to think about. If they would have just not had cloud gaming at this point, this deal probably would be going through. Or if their cloud gaming would have been just a secondary feature of the ecosystem, it probably would be going through. This continues here and says, Microsoft already accounts for an estimated 60 to 70% of the global cloud gaming services and has important strengths in cloud gaming, from owning Xbox to leading PC operating systems and a global cloud computing infrastructure. And this is where this kind of boggles my mind. Yes, they have a huge percentage of the cloud gaming, but it's not like there wasn't competition in there that tried to beat out Microsoft or tried to be better at it or first to it, like PlayStation Now. You had Google Stadia. If you're trying to tell me that Google Stadia doesn't have the same amount of resources to do well in cloud gaming, but they tried and they absolutely failed, I don't know what to say. Like, it's just Microsoft just did it better. And because they did it better, because they were forward thinking, which they had, being forward thinking for Xbox has backfired plenty of times with them. Think about the Xbox One, where essentially where the Xbox One wanted to go, we're there now across the entire industry. But being forward thinking in this case has backfired for this deal. We got a Raiden Blade here with the £2. I believe that's £2. It says Plume, Xbox has 160 billion war chest before moving 70 billion. Xbox is massive. They're massive. Is this 70 billion? Like, it's a huge number. It's the biggest acquisition in gaming, but they can still go out and do whatever they want after this. The thing is, though, where's the confidence, right? If you're Sadia, and you're looking at Phil Spencer right now and you're thinking, well, I put my confidence in you that this was going to go through and it didn't. Where's the confidence, right? Maybe that hurts the relationship. I don't know. That's just assuming. That's just speculation, right? This whole thing has been speculation from the beginning. Everybody talking about ABK, it's all been speculation. Like I said, one of my main things after they changed their viewpoint on the console harm theory, I'm like, that's amazing. This looks like this deal is going to pass because of that. But the biggest question I have is cloud gaming. I feel like that is the bigger question. And clearly that is the thing that blocked it. And all the analysts out there were saying that there was a high chance that this deal was going to go through, that the logo was looking good. They were all wrong. Like, go look at all the articles that came out in the last month or so. Financial Times, all of these databases for lawyers and info databases for market analysis that we talked about on this channel. I was reading through some of them. It all seemed very positive. They're all wrong. They're all wrong on this when it comes to the CMA. And I think this will have a ripple effect down the line now. Like, I feel like the FTC now is looking at this and their case has been bolstered. Like, I feel like the FTC now has every reason that they're going to be able to block in this deal. But who knows? I have no idea. Again, it's all speculation. Let's continue here. The deal would reinforce Microsoft's advantage in the market by giving it control over important gaming content such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft. The evidence available to the CMA indicates that absent the merger, Activision will start providing games via cloud platforms in the foreseeable future. Absent the merger. Okay, so they're thinking that Activision is going to be giving their games either way, whether this deal goes through or not. So that's why they're blocking it, and that will generate more competition. We got Stack Fox here with the $2 super chat. GeForce Now has more monthly users than xCloud. Great point. That is a great point. I actually had thought about that before jumping on the stream, and that is the only other big competitor right now that I would say to Xbox Cloud Gaming, which is GeForce Now. But GeForce Now is also a sort of a different service, unless I'm misunderstanding it, but that's a bring your own game service, right? Like you can stream games that you've purchased on other platforms. It is a bit different because with the Xbox Cloud Gaming, you're subscribing to a monthly fee and you don't have to buy any of those games that are within the service itself. But at the same time, Microsoft offered and NVIDIA accepted the 10-year deal to get the games onto the service, right? But the CMA is saying that doesn't matter that they accepted that deal essentially because Activision would have done that anyways, and it's better for competition if Activision stays its own company and isn't merged with Microsoft. So that's what they're saying here. It says the cloud allows UK gamers to avoid buying expensive gaming consoles and PCs and gives them much more flexibility and choice as to how they play, allowing Microsoft to take such a strong position in the cloud gaming market just as it begins to grow rapidly would risk undermining the innovation that is crucial to the development of these opportunities. So they're saying that there. You got Sanchez MTZ Gaming with the $5 super chat because Luna just came to the UK. Now they think cloud is the future. Good luck with that. Just look at Stadia. Stadia failed. Who uses Luna? I don't know anyone that uses Luna. It could be a bigger market than I think, but I don't know anyone that uses Luna. It literally just came to Canada as well. Expanding much slower, and if Google Stadia is any indication as to how these companies are going to be doing within gaming and in cloud gaming, like it may not be that successful. But again, we'll see what happens with that. So the remedy. So we know that Microsoft submitted a bunch of remedies. We know they offered 10-year deals. Clearly wasn't enough. Ubisoft, Boosteroid, Nvidia, GeForce Now, Nintendo, and literally an open calling to anybody who wanted 10 years of Call of Duty and the Activision catalog. We know that was available. That wasn't enough. It says here, the remedy. Microsoft submitted a proposal to address some of these concerns, which the CMA examined in considerable depth. The proposed remedy set out requirements governing what games must be offered by Microsoft to what platforms and on what conditions over a 10-year period. Such remedies are described as behavioral because they seek to regulate the behavior of the businesses involved in a merger, requiring them to behave in a way which may be contrary to their commercial incentives. This therefore takes the form of a type of ongoing regulation of the sector, replacing market forces in a growing and dynamic market with mandated regulatory obligations, ultimately overseen and enforced by the CMA, in this case at a global level. And that was the third pillar of we didn't know where the CMA was going to land on that. And that is regulation and enforcement of the remedies that Microsoft has submitted. And they're essentially saying here that they didn't want to add more regulatory obligations. So maybe, and that third pillar is another major reason here that they blocked this deal, the enforcement side. From that paragraph, that's what that sounds like. It says Microsoft's proposal contained a number of significant shortcomings connected with the growing and fast-moving nature of cloud gaming services. It did not sufficiently cover different cloud gaming service business models, including multi-game subscription services. Not sufficiently covered different cloud gaming. Interesting, because what I understood reading through those documents was that they were offering Call of Duty day and date onto PlayStation Plus. So I'm not sure where that comes from. Maybe they misunderstood it all. Who knows? It's not sufficiently open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating systems other than Windows. Who's playing games? These types of things is like, these people don't play games. Who plays games on their PC that aren't using a Windows operating system? Like, what percentage of people are doing that? That must be extremely, extremely, extremely small. It's like they're going out of their way to protect the smallest percentage of the market of people who probably don't even give a shit about half of these games. and wouldn't even care to play them. That part is just kind of mind blowing. Who's not using Windows to play games on PC? Anyone in the chat? I don't know. It would standardize the terms and conditions on which games are available, as opposed to them being determined by the dynamism and creativity of competition in the market, as would be expected in the absence of the merger. So again, who is the biggest opponent of this deal? It was PlayStation, right? What does PlayStation do? Linux. Okay. Yeah, I guess you can use Linux as well. Yeah. But still, how many people? Okay, I guess I know Linux and Mac you can play games, but what percentage that is that, right? Like, I don't know. How many people are using Linux to play these games? Anyways, before I continue with my thought here, Silent, welcome to Plume Pass. Appreciate that. And I got a $5 super chat here from CMA. Cloud argument is politics. Microsoft and ABK could sign an exclusivity agreement and the content ends up in the cloud anyway. Wonder how AI played into this. That's the thing, right? They've already signed tons of agreements for the cloud, and they to give it to other services. But yeah, you're right. Now that this deal has been blocked, right? What's stopping ABK from signing an exclusive deal for Game Pass and for Xbox Cloud Gaming? They're not going to be able to stop that. They could go ahead and sign that and be a partnership with them. And if you're Activision, you're probably fully incentivized to do that now, with the main opponent of this deal being PlayStation. But with this point here about with stopping other competitors from getting these games and being anti-competitive, all of that type of stuff, who's the main opponent of this deal? It was PlayStation. But PlayStation's entire business is the console side of things. So even though PlayStation does do these exclusivity deals, tries to keep games off of other platforms, which obviously we know that they do, and we saw some more information from the document in a previous video, the stuff that they're trying to exclude the entirety of the Xbox platform, these regulators now officially don't think that this console exclusivity stuff is at all a problem, as they ruled out the console harm theory, or at least the CMA. We have Sourbo here with the $2 super chat. When the next American Pie movie releases, I can't let you know that. I'm under NDA. I'd love to let you know when the next American Pie comes out, but my lips are sealed. I'm not an NDA breaker for that stuff. Definitely not. Jessica Garcia with the $1.99 super chat. Microsoft is going to fight fire as Sony is. We'll see what happens. We're going to read through, after reading through this, what is the likelihood of the appeal? What's the process? All of that type of stuff. So it says, given the remedy applies only to a defined set of Activision games, which can be streamed only in a defined set of cloud gaming services, provided they are purchased in a defined set of online stores, there is a significant risk of disagreement and conflict between Microsoft and cloud gaming service providers, particularly over a 10-year period in a rapidly changing market. So they're saying here that all of these 10-year deals, all of the promises that Microsoft has made, these cloud gaming services they're going to be in conflict with Microsoft. So again, I guess it isn't just cloud gaming. Well, cloud gaming is the main thing, but it's also the enforcement of that deal that has led to them wanting to block this deal. And if you're jumping in the chat, I said right at the beginning, if you guys hear a yelling baby, don't worry. My wife has provided me permission this morning to do this stream. She's watching the baby. I'm not neglecting my child. I want everyone to know that. So when you hear crying baby in the background, he's just, he's a baby. Next here, accepting Microsoft's remedy would inevitably require some degree of regulatory oversight by the CMA. By contrast, preventing the merger would effectively allow market forces to continue to operate and shape the development of cloud gaming without this regulatory intervention. So cloud gaming enforcement, why they blocked this deal. Considering the potential benefits of the merger. So here we kind of look at the benefits and let's see what they think. The CMA carefully considered whether the benefit of having Activision's content available on Game Pass outweighed the harm that the merger would cause to competition in cloud gaming in the UK. The CMA found that this new payment option, while beneficial to some customers, 25 plus million customers, right, would not outweigh the overall harm to competition and ultimately UK gamers arising from this merger, particularly given the incentive for Microsoft to increase the cost of Game Pass subscription post-merger to reflect the addition of Activision's valuable games. Well, they haven't raised the price of Game Pass since Bethesda. We know they're coming out with a family plan. If they were to raise the price if they were to have acquired Activision Blizzard, if they were to raise the price because those games were all into the service, I don't think that's unreasonable. If they raise the price of Game Pass with all of the Activision Blizzard games in there, you think about Diablo 4, all of the upcoming Call of Duties, I don't think it's an unreasonable thing for Microsoft to do with the amount of value that they would be providing. And they still obviously need to be able to make the money to be able to support that service. How much would they raise it? I don't think that they would raise it very much if they were, maybe like between $2 to $5. And I think most people who are subscribed would see that and think it would be a reasonable thing. But they're saying that would be bad for the consumers, and it would be bad. I mean, you don't want to pay more money, but I just don't think it would be a reasonable thing for Microsoft to do with how much value they're currently providing within the service. It says Martin Coleman, the chair of the independent panel of experts conducting this investigation, said gaming is the UK's largest entertainment sector. Cloud gaming is growing fast with the potential to change gaming by altering the way games are played, freeing people from the need to rely on expensive consoles and gaming PCs and giving them more choice over how and where they play games. This means that it is vital that we protect competition in this emerging and exciting market. So they believe, like I said earlier, Microsoft being such a prominent, massive player in cloud gaming, doing it better than the companies before them, better than PlayStation with PlayStation Now. Google tried to get in, which is you can't, like I said, you can't tell me that Google doesn't have the same opportunity, the same infrastructure, the same, or essentially the same ability to be able to create a great cloud gaming service, but failed. But like they failed. Microsoft being so good at cloud gaming, having Azure, all that type of stuff is what screwed them here. If cloud gaming wasn't a part of gaming, it wasn't a part of the market, the deal would be going through. It says Microsoft already enjoys a powerful position and head start over other competitors in cloud gaming, and this deal would strengthen that advantage, giving it the ability to undermine new and innovative competitors. Microsoft engaged constructively with us to try to address these issues, and we are grateful for that, but the proposals were not effective to remedy our concerns and would have replaced competition with ineffective regulation in a new and dynamic market. Cloud gaming needs a free competitive market to drive innovation and choice. That is best achieved by allowing the current competitive dynamics in cloud gaming to continue to do their job. Okay, so they believe they don't care about the 10-year deals. They think the 10-year deals aren't going to be able to drive the market to grow, allow competitors to jump in and to thrive within cloud gaming. That is their main argument here, that even though they've offered 10-year deals, it's going to require a ton of regulatory oversight and enforcement, which they believe is bad for competition, and that these 10-year deals are worse than allowing the free markets to function in a way that Microsoft doesn't have control over certain games that would allow these cloud gaming services to grow. That's essentially the way I read it, is what they are saying. And we will see what happens. They could be right about that. I don't know. Maybe those 10-year deals would hinder the cloud gaming market and all the enforcement and the money that goes out for the regulation of those behavioral remedies that Microsoft offer. Maybe that would be worse. But at the same time, like somebody said here, the thing is, what is stopping Activision now if this deal just completely falls apart and it's completely over and there's no more even talk about appeals or anything? What is stopping Activision from making deals with Xbox and Xbox Game Pass? That could still essentially happen. And if that happens, Microsoft has zero incentive to make sure that even though they're getting these deals with the Game Pass, to make sure that these games will be available on other cloud streaming services. The other side of the coin is if this deal was approved, you wouldn't be worrying about these exclusive deals that Activision could be making with Microsoft to make sure it's only on their platform, because Microsoft guaranteed that Activision Blizzard games were coming to all of these other services for at least 10 years. Now that's completely gone. Like, they can go out, they can still go make huge exclusivity deals in the way that PlayStation does, and make sure that games do not end up on PlayStation, make sure that games do not end up on Nintendo, make sure that games end up on no other cloud gaming service, and there will be no regulation against that. Which, to me, as a gamer, as I've said consistently on this channel, I don't like third-party exclusive deals. I don't like timed exclusive deals. And I was really liking the way that Microsoft was kind of pushing the gaming industry to get rid of those and give more access to more people no matter where they play. I feel like this blocking of this deal, we're going to get right back to more third-party deals, making sure that certain people on certain platforms can't play any of these games. And you know what? That's the way that the regulators want the industry to function. That's the way it's going to go. And Microsoft now has to, I think, operate with that and go out and do more of those deals. I think they have no choice at this point if the deal fully falls apart. So we'll see what happens. But personally, I think this is worse off at the end of the day for gamers, especially with just the blocking of access of games. I mean, you look at the Square Enix stuff going on with PlayStation. I think that's worse for gamers. I know people will look at that and be, well, they help fund it, blah, 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 blah. But I think that blocking a game like Final Fantasy 16 from PC, it's coming to PC, I guess, after the 6 months, but from even the timed exclusivity from any other platform other than being on PS5, I think that's worse for overall as gamers. And that's how we got to look at this thing. It's not about which plastic box is better. It's not about is Sony better or Xbox is better, because they're both just huge corporations that don't care. But from a gamer's perspective, reducing access to games in any shape or form is worse. We don't gain anything from timed exclusivity. We gain nothing from third-party exclusive games as a gamer. You gain absolutely nothing. The only thing you gain is to be able to look over and say, "Hi, you can't play this game." So unless that's all you care about. So that's why I think this deal not going through is worse for gamers at the end of the day, because it's going to force now, I believe I believe that now, from the way I'm looking at it, is this is going to force Microsoft to play ball now with Sony. They got to go out there and make those third-party deals. They don't have a choice, because obviously what they're doing here with this huge acquisition and then offering these games on every single platform, the market does not want to happen. The regulators do not want to happen. So now they got to play ball, and we'll see what happens. I think that if it fully falls through, because we know that there is an appeal process, we'll read through Foss Patton's stuff here. Foss Patton's one of the guys that was really making it seem like there was a good chance. I think that it was going to go through. So we'll see if the appeal falls apart. We'll see what happens. There's still the EU. There's still the FTC. I think people are rumbling here about like they just pull out of the UK and then this deal goes through and they can still get this deal passed with the FTC and with the EU. But I feel like if the CMA blocks it, which is a huge regulator, what the FTC's already sued to block this deal. Now their argument is bolstered. And the EU, they pushed their decision all the way to May 22nd, probably waiting to see what the CMA is going to do. They're probably, even if they're deciding to push this thing through, they're probably looking at what the CMA is doing and maybe reconsidering what their thoughts are. I don't know. Raiden Blade, again, with the £2 super chat. Appreciate it. Tit for tat, CMA just killed Sony, ABK signing Game Pass. That's, I think we're going to see a lot more of that now. I honestly do. You know what? In my opinion, that's worse for gamers. It's worse for gamers, in my opinion. So that part is unfortunate. And PlayStation played a major role in blocking this deal. I wonder how that relationship is going to be affected. We know ABK said there wasn't going to be anything wrong with the deal, with their relationship, but they're just posturing because they have so many players on the PlayStation platform. But I wonder how this is going to affect their relationship with PlayStation. But when it comes to an appeal, we have Foss Patents here, who talks about it. He says, what does Microsoft's announcement of an appeal mean in practical terms? So first of all, I guess we should read this, because Brad Smith came out right away, said that they're appealing this. Like, no, there's no question about that. They're absolutely appealing this. They say, we remain fully committed to our acquisition with Activision Blizzard and will appeal today's determination by the CMA. Here's our statement. We remain fully committed to this acquisition and will appeal. The CMA's decision rejects a pragmatic path to address competition concerns and discourages technology innovation and investment in the United Kingdom. We have already signed contracts to make Activision Blizzard's popular games available on 150 million more devices, and we remain committed to reinforcing these agreements through regulatory remedies. We're especially disappointed that after lengthy deliberations, this decision appears to reflect a flawed understanding of this market and the way the relevant cloud technology actually works. So they're appealing it. They're calling out the regulators for saying that they don't understand how the market works, which, I mean, kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't think they're looking at this in its entirety of effect with all of the deals that currently happen. If their biggest concern is competition and access to these games, like I said, I feel like this deal not going through is going to hurt access more than help it. Because I mean, Microsoft has Azure. They're $1 trillion company. You block this deal, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. They're still going to be the leader. They're still going to be dominant in cloud gaming. There's no way a smaller company has any chance of even fighting against Microsoft in the way of cloud gaming. But now Microsoft has zero incentive to help out these smaller companies by offering them those 10-year deals, by offering any of that stuff. I mean, they could, they still may, because maybe they look at their financials and it makes business sense to offer games that they currently have onto other cloud gaming services, but they don't have to. There's no guarantee. At least previously there was that 10-year deal to guarantee that smaller companies had these games, providing more access to these games to more people. So, who knows? So Florian Moon Foss Patton's comments, what does Microsoft's announcement of an appeal mean in practical terms? With less than 3 months left until the July 18th closing date under the original merger agreement, an extension will have to be negotiated in all likelihood. There may be activist shareholder pushing to take the $3 billion instead of negotiating an extension, but given that the CMA decision meets the irrationality standard to be vacated by the UK Competition Appeal Tribunal, it makes sense for ABK to extend. The CMA's decisions are more difficult to appeal than, say, European Commission rulings. The standard is very differential. Other than procedural error, one has to show irrationality, but it's not infinitely high in this case. I believe Kat will disagree with the CMA. If what the CMA did today could not be corrected on appeal, virtually any merger involving some activity in what might be a major market one day could be blocked. So I think that's a pretty good point. Any mergers that involve emerging markets, essentially now this will be a precedent as to why these deals will be blocked. Maybe that's what they're going for, where they want these emerging markets to flow freely and allow it to just go wherever it's going to go without any major companies coming in and purchasing up these smaller ones. Maybe that's what their whole goal is. So the UK would become a rogue state on the international stage. The CMA's CEO, Sarah Cardell, said in Brussels, the CMA is not anti-mergers, and she gave a speech in the UK where she explained that if non-divestiture remedies work, the CMA accepts them. Just lip service. The CMA has now done something that shows it's out of control. 3, what does this mean for other proceedings? The next major decision is the one by the European Commission. The EC has no desire to position itself at the radical fringes of antitrust enforcement. EU clearance will weaken the CMA's position. So Foss Patton still believes the EU is going to clear this thing based off of that, or a likelihood if they don't want to position themselves in a bad place. But we'll see, because I feel like a lot of people were thinking that the CMA, based off of information that was coming out, that they were going to approve it as well. Got Raiden Blade here with the £5 super chat. Appreciate it. Again, Raiden Blade. UK invited Microsoft to number 10 Downing Street only to slap Xbox. What are you thinking, CMA? PM, why did you invite Microsoft? You also just told the tech industry stay away. That is a great point. As we talked about earlier, in earlier videos, they're at a conference right now, and all this is going down. And it's a game developer conference, or it's a game showcase conference, whatever it is. And they probably are standing up there right now, or whatever, however they're participating in this conference, just feeling like absolute idiots. And everyone is looking at what they're saying probably and not even thinking about it as they know what is going on in the background. So yeah, they did invite them. Which again would have been another sign. Hey, they invited them because they thought this deal was going to pass. And now the CMA is here doing this. Crazy turn of events. Crazy turn of events. So next part here, Australia and New Zealand were waiting for decisions in other jurisdictions. They can decide based on the Union Jack in their flags, or look at the insanity that the CMA has put out today. And assuming it goes that way, EU clearance, and decide on that basis. The FTC is going to face even more political pressure now by bringing and pursuing meritless litigation in the US. Instead of working out a reasonable solution, the FTC did damage to 2 US companies. Even more people will say Lena Khan equals liability for the US economy. That has always been a very bewildering thing to me, as I'm not American, I am Canadian, but very bewildering, the pushback from the US government against an American company, clearly out there protecting a Japanese company. That part was so bewildering to me, because they didn't even allow Microsoft to explain themselves or talk about remedies or anything before they sued to block. That part I just fully didn't understand. The Sony-supported private lawsuit in the Northern District of California is now going to be slowed down. There's no more basis for a preliminary injunction. Closing isn't imminent. So far, they're only a motion. Microsoft's opposition is due at the end of next week. And then finally here, over the past 10 years or more, Microsoft has been more cooperative with regulators than any big tech company in history. The CMA does not care. CMA must be driven by motives that have nothing to do with regulatory reasonableness. Now Microsoft has to fight back. So this is what Foss Patents has to say about this. And he is the expert in this stuff, or at least has lots of experience, 30 plus year industry expertise. So take that for what you will. I feel like a lot of the experts that were wrong, like I said, so it's hard to like fully, it's hard to fully know if what they're saying is based off of them wanting a certain thing to happen or off of the previous expertise. But I mean, Foss Patents, I think, has been pretty good so far with what he has been saying. But in terms of this deal passing in the CMA, many experts did not see this coming. Okay. So there it is. The appeal process, I think he also said it could be up until like 2024. Where is it? I believe he said something here that it could be all the way until 2024 or something that this deal could last. And don't quote me on that. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was somewhere else that I saw that. But that is the other thing. How long do you want this deal to last, right? How many years do people want this deal to go on before they're just fed up and they want something else? They don't want to talk about it anymore. Or how long does Microsoft go before they're like, hey, well, we have all this money that we're trying to invest in this. Are we going to ostracize our current fan base by focusing fully on this? Where at the end of the day, if you're PC gamer, you're a console gamer, we know that they've already said they want this deal for mobile. So how much more effort do PC and console gamers want Microsoft to put into this deal when their entire incentive for this thing to go through is on the mobile side of things? You know, there's so much more they could do with that money. There's so many more things that they could do. And like I said, just reinvesting it and bolstering their current 23 studios or however many they have and making sure that every single time a game is released, it's like literally at the highest of quality and there's no more of the negativity around it. There's no more of the negative marketing stuff like the 30 FPS, all that type of stuff goes away. They make sure that they really fully invest and make sure that those games are perfect. But we'll see. Now, Rated Blade here again with the £2 super chat. FTC to approve the deal because CMA blocked the government. I feel like this bolsters the FTC's argument. I feel like they were waiting to see what their decision is, and that if they all pass this deal, the FTC would just go make a deal with Microsoft without going all the way to court. But now they have all of this backing from other regulatory bodies to go ahead and say, this is why we sued them and this is why we were justified in suing Microsoft to block this deal. Now, Bobby Kotick also weighed in. No, I don't want to give you my email, Activision Blizzard. Bobby Kotick also weighed in, and here is what he wrote to his team. He said, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick sent the following mail to our team on Wednesday. And this is right on their website, newsroom.activisionblizzard.com. Team, today the Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, a regulatory agency in the UK, decided not to approve our merger with Microsoft. This isn't the news we wanted, but it is far from the final word on this deal. So my title says, it's over. Sony has one question mark. It's not over. It's not over. They can appeal, they can win. And we still got to wait on the EU and the FTC to see what they decide. But it's a big blow against this deal. And it's going to prolong the length that we talk about this stuff, right? That's the other thing. But Sony obviously currently has won. What I'm trying to say is they have currently won in the CMA. Currently, that could change if they went on appeal, but they currently have won because this is what they wanted. They want this merger to be blocked. It says, alongside Microsoft, we can and will contest this decision, and we've already begun the work to appeal to the UK Competition Appeals Tribunal. We're confident in our case because the facts are on our side. The deal is good for competition. And while I believe that, while many people believe that the deal is good for competition, the regulatory body does not. They've been saying this all along, so it's hard to know whether they actually have as good of a case as they think, or if the CMA is just going to continue to be hard-headed. And this is what they want to do, so they're going to stay steadfast on what their beliefs are. The UK hopes to grow its leadership position in technology, and a combined Microsoft Activision would accomplish exactly that. At a time when the fields of machine learning and artificial intelligence are thriving, we know the UK market would benefit from Microsoft's bench strength in both domains, as well as our ability to put those technologies to use immediately. By contrast, if the CMA's decision holds, it would stifle investment, competition, and job creation throughout the UK gaming industry. How much would the UK be hurt if Microsoft pulled out? If Xbox pulled out? If they pulled out all their technologies? They're a $1 trillion company. They have a lot of power. They have some of the best technologies out there. How much would the UK be hurt? I feel like it would be hurt a lot. We got CMAT here with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. How about Microsoft splits off Game Pass in the UK, calls it Game Pass UK. It has no ABK content. Does that get the CMA to approve the deal? I've been reading stuff that they could like pull out certain parts of their business from the UK. Do they want to do that? I guess it all comes down to that ROI stuff, right? Like, if this deal is passed by the FTC and the EU, and it's passed everywhere else pretty much in the world, except for in the UK, is it worth them doing that? Will they make more money? Is the UK a market for them that generates enough money for them that they have to stay in there with every part of their business? I have a feeling, and like, I don't know, again, this is all just speculation. I have a feeling that it'd be more beneficial for Microsoft, because of the mobile side of things, for this to pass, even if it was blocked by the UK and then they just pulled out, they just don't operate that part of the business in the UK, but they operate it everywhere else. I feel like that would still be beneficial for Microsoft. There probably would still be a net positive, probably still a good return on investment. So that could be something that happens. The UK hopes to grow its leadership, or I already read that. The merger is a complex process, and I know I'm not the only one frustrated by the hurdles and delays. We're accustomed to a company culture that moves quickly to accomplish big goals, so it's tough when we can't close things out at our usual energetic pace. We'll keep pressing our case because we know that this merger will benefit our employees, the broader UK tech workforce, and players around the world. I'm going to do everything I personally can to advocate for us and help regulators understand the competitive dynamics in our industry. What gives me confidence is that whether on our own or united with another company, we are of the strongest companies in our industry, poised to continued growth and building on our incredible IP. I appreciate your continued hard work and focus, and for continuing to connect and engage our players around the world. This is the best time to be in our field, and you all represent the best of our industry. We'll be sure to keep you updated on the next steps as they happen. So there you have it. Bobby Kotick writes this letter saying they're appealing. They're confident that they can win the appeal. They have all the facts on their side. They've been saying this since the beginning. It obviously hasn't panned out. So we'll see what happens with this appeal. The sad thing for gamers is that this thing is going to last forever now, right? Like, it's going to last how many more months, how many more years until the entire thing with the CMA in the UK is finalized and it closes, whether it's officially overall blocked. I mean, right now it's officially blocked in the CMA, right? In the UK. That's they can appeal, but they've blocked the deal. Right now in the UK, it's not going through. So that's, and then, like, let's see, what else do we got here? Because this is the biggest news. I mean, everyone's talking about it, and the other thing, it's gonna be from a console war perspective. People are gonna be losing their minds. Let's go through some Twitter here with some other people who have to weigh in on this. Tom Warren. I said back in September that Call of Duty concerns were just noise, that the larger regulator concerns would be Microsoft leverage of Windows and Azure for game distribution in the future. And here's the CMA today with Microsoft's recent cloud gaming deals. So we already read through everything that they said. The UK is clearly closed for business, and Activision Blizzard rep said in response to CMA's decision to block the deal. So this is an Activision Blizzard rep. The CMA reports contradicts the ambitions of the UK to become an attractive country to build technology businesses. You're going to see, I think this is going to have a ripple effect amongst businesses looking at what they can do within the UK. Definitely. We will work aggressively with Microsoft to reverse this on appeal. The report's conclusions are a disservice to UK citizens who face increasingly dire economic prospects. We will reassess our growth plans for the UK. And then, again, that's a gamer, right? What would you rather? Like, let's just be real here, right? What would you rather? Would you rather pay $70 fully for a video game, or would you rather sign up for $10 a month and get access to a large catalog of games, right? I know there's all the console wars of people like, oh, they're renting games on Game Pass, blah, 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 blah. But let's be real here. As an average person out there, as an average consumer, you cannot deny the current age of gaming we are in right now is better than it's ever been in terms of access, in terms of how much we're paying to get access to some of the best games, some of the top games in the entire industry. It's been better than ever. And wanting to go back to paying full $70 for every single game that you purchase, to me, it's like, it's just a nonsensical argument. Game Pass is an incredible value, and it can't be beat. It's the best value in gaming. And it is like the rent versus own stupid argument that's out there. It's like when you're buying a game at $70, you're buying for literally a download key from a digital store that if the digital store goes offline, well, you just spent $70 on something you can't even access, right? It's just like, it doesn't make any sense to me. The argument back and forth about the renting and the buying and all that crap. It is the best time by far to be a gamer with the amount of access we get. And we can thank, realistically, at the end of the day, Microsoft pushing the industry forward to that. They were forward thinking. So in times like this, like they say, it's pretty bad economically everywhere. All right. And then I guess last thing he says here is global innovators, large and small, will take note that despite its rhetoric, the UK is clearly closed for business. And then I guess the other thing on that, people who say that they want to own their games, Game Pass isn't stopping you from buying games. It isn't stopping you from owning games. No one is stopping that. Game Pass is just an incredible service that is available for people who want to use it. I don't understand the pushback against that. It doesn't make any sense. If you grew up playing games, maybe it's the new age kids out there that don't understand what it was like playing games in the 90s and even in like the early 2000s, where it's like you had to go to a rental. You could buy maybe 1 or 2 games a year, pretty much all you could afford. Or if you wanted to get a cheaper amount, pay cheaper, and just play a bunch of different games, you have to go to a rental store, literally rent the game for like, I don't know, was it like $10 for the weekend or something? And you had like 3 days to play through it. And then you'd have to, and if it was a shitty game, you were screwed. You were stuck with that game. Like if you played games back in the day, comparing to where we are right now with something like Game Pass, I don't see the argument as to how this is bad for gamers in any way. It doesn't degrade games. We've seen multiple examples of Game Pass helping games sell more. We've seen the service just get better and better. More games launching it in day one. And there's just so much more evidence to the side of Game Pass being a good thing for the industry. I think that's where too much of the console war ideology comes in for people when they deny things that are clearly good for gamers as a whole. What else we got here? I think this was the first thing I saw this morning when I woke up. Lulu back with a tweet. She hadn't really tweeted about this for a while, but she says the CMA's report today is a major setback for the UK's ambitions to be a tech hub, and we will work with Microsoft to reverse it on appeal. This report is also a disservice to UK citizens who face increasingly dire economic prospects, and we will continue to reassess. This is literally what I just read, but it was somebody who put it in a screenshot in a nice picture and said it was a Activision spokesperson, not actually saying it was Lulu. Interesting. Yeah, that's what she says. Let's see. What else we got? Mostly just everything that I've read through. We got Shinobi here. Jez in a major win for the market leader PlayStation. It is a major win for PlayStation, whether we believe it or not. They won here in the CMA. They won. They got the deal. Jim Ryan is at home laughing right now. And you gotta give credit where credit is due. They went hard. They spent the money. They believed that they were going to be able to block this thing. And they did. They did so far with the CMA. So hey, Jim Ryan did his job. He did his job as an executive at PlayStation, which is to look out for the best interests of one, their company, and two, their shareholders, right? Yeah, Dreamcast guy celebrating. 99 chance the Activision Blizzard deal is dead. Another Microsoft L. Xbox having the toughest month ever. It's been, it has been a tough month for Xbox for sure, with all of the negativity around it. But this is going to be the next step here. This is what's going to happen next when it comes to media. Multiple articles probably talking about, multiple YouTubers too, talking about, is it the end of Xbox? Are they going to sell? What are they going to do next? Xbox as a brand, as a platform, finished if this deal doesn't go through. All of this just doom and gloom stuff. The reality of the situation is, if this deal fully is just completely squashed everywhere, they pay a $3 billion fee, and which is pennies to Microsoft. They have a shit ton of cash that they're sitting on that they're going to go out. And this is where the unfortunate thing comes for, if you're just a gamer, they're going to go out, and this is my prediction, they're going to take all that cash and they're going to go and start doing third-party deal, Game Pass exclusive, Xbox third-party exclusive, all of this stuff. They're going to go start spending a bunch of money on that, and access to games is going to be worse because of this deal not going through. That's what I think is going to happen next. I don't think they're just going to go out and try to buy a new studio. I think that'd be crazy. I think they're going to go out and start making tons of third-party exclusive deals, and PlayStation is going to essentially, the market is going to be operating the way that PlayStation has literally operates and has been operating this generation, with stuff like what they do with Square Enix. I think you're going to see a lot more of that from Xbox if this deal is completely blocked. We have Joe Stauber here with the $20 super chat. Joe, appreciate that. Welcome. Says, I thought about something. I haven't heard anyone talk about it yet. Say the deal doesn't go through. Will AVB stop, or I guess I'm guessing you're meaning ABK. Will ABK stop giving PlayStation the timed exclusives or offer the same deals to Xbox that PlayStation offers them? I think that is a very, I think that's something that could definitely happen. That's what I'm saying, Joe, is that this deal, if it completely gets blocked, Microsoft is sitting on this, they're sitting on all this cash that they were supposed to be using for the ABK deal, and they're going to go out and make massive deals with ABK, with other publishers, just third-party deals, just partnerships, where the CMA here is saying that they don't want cloud gaming to be stifled. But what is stopping ABK from signing a Game Pass deal to put all of the Call of Duties into Game Pass day and date? Either way, right? There's nothing stopping them from doing that via a third-party deal. And within that third-party deal that they make, if they're spiteful, I don't know if they would do this, because it's probably not great for business for ABK, because of the amount of people that play Call of Duty on PlayStation. But maybe they're just like, you know what? It's worth it for us at this point, maybe for a year or something, that we just put Call of Duty on Game Pass day and date, and we give Call of Duty to PlayStation at a later date or something like that. Who knows what they could do? All of those things are possible to happen, because these are all going to just be third-party deals I think Microsoft is going to try to go out and make, because the fact that this deal got blocked. There's so many different possibilities. I think that's going to be even more interesting than what is going on here with ABK. What are they going to do next with all of this cash if the deal completely gets blocked? And nothing is stopping the third-party stuff. So that's a great point. And also, I think a valid speculative thought to have. What comes next? What do we got here? More from Tom Warren. Derek Strickland here saying, UK regulators at the CMA find that Microsoft is already the market leader in cloud gaming by considerable margin, citing that Microsoft has established presence in console gaming, the top PC operating system, and a massive cloud computing platform. Hey, what's up, Web Dave? Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. What else we got? This is a lot of discussion. A lot of discussion this morning. The UK CMA also appears to have called out Microsoft for offering Call of Duty to Nintendo, saying that they have seen no evidence from Microsoft or Activision that Call of Duty can actually run on a Nintendo console as of now. Okay, so they don't believe that they can get this game running on on the Nintendo Switch. It says Call of Duty is currently available on 2 gaming consoles, Xbox and PlayStation. We found that these consoles compete closely with each other in terms of content, target audience, and console technology. We found that Nintendo's consoles compete less closely with either of Xbox or PlayStation, generally offering consoles with different technical specifications, and with its most popular titles tending to be more family and child friendly. Nintendo does not currently offer Call of Duty, and we have seen no evidence to suggest that its consoles would be technically capable of running a version of Call of Duty that is similar to those in the Xbox and PlayStation in terms of quality of gameplay and content. What I find very interesting here is what makes the regulators at the CMA the experts as to what games are we going to be able to run on the Nintendo Switch, how they're going to be able to get them to run. Nintendo literally came out and accepted the 10-year deal. Who's more of an expert about Nintendo? The CMA, or Nintendo themselves, who easily went out, accepted the 10-year deal for Call of Duty, and we're probably like, yeah, we'll get Call of Duty back on our platform. We'll just generate us more money on a platform that hasn't had it since Call of Duty Ghosts, and will be even more popular and bigger than we currently are. So it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious how the regulators believe that they know how games are going to be able to run on all of these different platforms. So I mean, there it is. I mean, this is the decision. And again, that was my biggest question. There was positive about the console harm theory that they denied that being an issue. My biggest question was cloud gaming. Where were they going to land? That's where I was like, there is still a chance this deal gets blocked because we don't know if cloud gaming is going, if they're going to accept the remedies that Microsoft has offered. And obviously they haven't accepted it. Now, Papa Moist here with the $4.99 super chat. Say the ABK deal goes through. Microsoft is going to have to replace the developers that left ABK and their crisis map they have created due to the loss of devs. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Honestly, there is going to be, I think, a shift in terms. It's going to be interesting to see how the market reacts to this entire thing, how ABK operates, how Microsoft operates, how the relationships amongst all of these companies change, if they do change, or if is it truly just business? Is it truly just business to these guys, or are any of these guys going to take anything serious here and like make it more of a personal thing? So we'll see what happens. We'll see if ABK, like I said, if they make it just a third party deal with Xbox after this. So they sign a third party deal because they're going to have a lot of cash to spend. And I think they're going to be going out and making more of those third party deals. We have CMA with $5 super chat. Apple, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Microsoft, the top cloud companies. And it isn't even a $1 billion industry in the UK. Yet here we are. I saw that too. They're trying to protect like a $1.1 billion industry compared to the entirety of how big the gaming industry is. So that's huge. That's huge. Yeah. But again, we'll see what happens on the appeal. I personally think that, like, I don't see where this thing is going to go. It'll be very interesting to see where the EU now lands, because now we have the decision from the CMA, and the EU is going to be, are they looking at this? Has the EU already come to a decision, essentially? Have they already at least like thought about it and they were leaning to one way or another? And now are they looking at this and thinking that they're going to go more along the lines and agree with the CMA and maybe go out and block the deal? Then you have the FTC, and the FTC already sued to block this deal. And there was an article. Let's see if I have it here. There was an article in the New York Post yesterday where it said that Microsoft was going to be cramming this deal down the FTC's throat. And one of the things that they did, here it is. One of the things they did say on here, I think I highlighted it. I'm not sure. One of the things they did say on here was that the CMA, they say the CMA has been the toughest regulator over the last several years with tech deals. Microsoft, which owns the Xbox gaming console, has been working to win CMA approval by agreeing in recent weeks to give companies like Ubisoft boost right access to Activision games on their cloud-based video game streaming service for 10 years. It also signed a deal with Nintendo. A big concern for regulators has been that Microsoft would keep Activision games only on Microsoft's Game Pass. All right, guys, 1 second here. They say the CMA said earlier this month it was only concerned about competition issues in the cloud and was no longer worried about Microsoft dominating the console market where it competes with Sony's PlayStation. Microsoft's CEO Brad Smith said publicly that Collins FTC did not even want to discuss these kinds of concessions. That was one thing, right? We know that the FTC didn't even discuss the remedies that Microsoft was offering, and they just sued to block. And the CMA's decision almost seems like it's bolstering that decision, right? That's why they sued to block, because they knew that any remedies that Microsoft was going to offer, with the facts that maybe that they have that we don't know about, wouldn't make a difference. They say the FTC can still file for a temporary injunction from a U.S. federal court to stop the merger from closing, but getting that ruling is far from a sure thing. A DC antitrust source not on either side of the case has says, by law, the FTC only needs to raise serious doubtful questions about a merger to get an injunction. But as a practical matter, the judge is evaluating the merits of the case. If Microsoft makes a deal with the Brits and the European Union, it can say that antitrust concerns are resolved. And if you're a judge, that's not a helpful fact for the FTC. The FTC will be out there alone, and it will make it more difficult for it to get any decision approved by the court. Legal experts have said for months they believe the FTC complaint was already going to be difficult to win. So see what I mean? All of the experts, all of the analysts throughout this entire process in the last little while have been telling us, and I have videos reading their articles and going through everything that they've been saying. They've been saying that any case that these regulators have is going to be extremely hard to prove, whether that's in court, whether that's just in general. So it gave a lot of people the thought that, well, if these arguments that they have are hard to prove, there's probably a likelihood that this deal is going to come to some sort of approval decision, some sort of agreement before it gets to court, before it gets further along into the process, right? And even here, this legal expert is saying the same thing. It says the FTC will be out there alone, and it will make it more difficult for it to get any decision approved by the court. And that would be if the CMA would have gone ahead and approved it. But now that the CMA has blocked the deal, the FTC is sitting here looking like, look, we are smart. This is why we sued to block this deal. This is why we made the decision that we made, and the CMA agrees with us. So right there, the FTC has more pull than they previously did, I believe. So legal experts have said for months they believe the FTC complaint was already going to be difficult to win. The FTC alleges that Microsoft, in being a major maker of consoles through Xbox and owning Activision, would have too much market power. It asserts that the Microsoft Activision transaction would create a combined firm with the ability and increased incentive to withhold Activision's valuable gaming content from, or to grade Activision's content for Microsoft rivals. Now, law firm Arnold & Porter, which is following the case, also said in a note to clients, the FTC points out that 10 of the top 15 console games sold between 2010 and 2019 were Call of Duty games. And the latest game in the franchise, Modern Warfare 2, released in 2022, and it generated $1 billion in sales in its first 10 days of release. But Arnold & Porter also points out that Microsoft says it is only the third largest console maker and has no share in mobile gaming. Microsoft's proposed acquisition is that of a customer buying an important supplier, a vertical acquisition, and vertical cases are typically harder for the antitrust regulators to bring. The antitrust division's unsuccessful attempts to block AT&T's acquisition of Time Warner and United Health's acquisition of Change Healthcare are recent cases in point. So these people believe that this deal will be extremely hard to block. I just got a sandwich dropped off for me, so I'll be munching on this. Also, before I continue here, shout out to the 520 of you guys in here right now. This is awesome. I appreciate it. Hit the like button, share it around, all that type of stuff. Appreciate you guys jumping in here. Big day. A big decision was made. CMA blocked the deal. We've read through their reasoning. We've read through Bobby Kotick and his letter. And we also know that Microsoft is appealing this deal. So we'll wait and see what comes next. If this goes to court, it will give us a chance to see PlayStation's documents. But I mean, we kind of already know what PlayStation is doing. That's my one thing why I kind of wanted it to go to court, was just because I want to see all of the documents that come out of it. I want to see what PlayStation is doing. I want to see all their third-party deals. And as I've been saying, now that if this deal does get blocked fully, I mean, it's hard to, I gotta choose my wording properly here. It's been blocked. But let's say it goes to appeal or whatever. They lose the appeal. It's officially over, okay? What is Xbox's next step? What are they going to do with all that money? My feeling, my speculation, my guess is that they're going to be taking that third party, or they're going to be taking that money that they have now that was supposed to be for ABK, and they're going to play hardball. They're going to go out and make similar deals that PlayStation is making. It's going to reduce access for gamers, and overall, the state of the industry is going to be back to where it's always been, which is like third-party exclusives, restricting content to push your brand, to push your platform, all that type of stuff, where it is happening now. But if this deal was approved, there was a guarantee out there that there would be more access for all of these Activision Blizzard games. That was a guarantee. So now we don't know. Now Xbox, I think it's going to be back to the third party. We're going to see a lot more exclusive Xbox Game Pass drops, exclusive third-party Xbox deals, a lot more exclusive PlayStation deals, all that type of stuff, and less people are going to get access to the games. And from a gamer's perspective, just simply a gamer's perspective, I think that's worse for the industry, which is why I like what Xbox has been doing, which is providing more access to as many people as possible. But again, this article yesterday is they're saying here, the safe move now for Con is to stay the course and not seek a federal injunction if the CMA and European Union approve the merger, the antitrust source said. But they really thought the deal was going to be approved by the CMA. I think this completely changes everything. Fill my drip with the 999 super chat. What happens with all the other countries that have already approved this deal? They're approved. I don't think it affects it. Like, they've already approved this deal. They've already made their decision. But from what I understand, you need the CMA, you need the FTC, and the EU for to make it worth it to fully get this deal fully passed. But there is talk out there that I've been seeing is that they could just literally pull out of the UK if the FTC and the EU approve it. But the question is, are the FTC and are the EU going to approve the deal now that the CMA has blocked it? A lot of people looked at the CMA as the major regulatory body that the decision had to be made from. And once that decision was made, it would make the dominoes fall with the EU and the FTC. Now we know that the decision is to block the deal. It makes it almost seem like the EU is going to follow course. And then now the FTC has more backing, I would say, more incentive, more reasons they can use as to why they went ahead and sued to block this deal overall. So that's where we're at. But I appreciate everybody coming out today. Keep in mind, right? This is going to be going on for a longer while now, probably more than any of us want this damn thing to go on. If they're appealing, how long does that last? All of that type of stuff. There's going to be tons of chatter on social media, lots of console wars stuff. So if you guys are wrapped up in that, it's going to be a fun time, to say the least, for to be involved in gaming. This is a crazy time in gaming, right? Like, let's be real here. This is I've never experienced the industry in the way that it is right now, with all the stuff going on, with the transparency in the sense that all these documents are coming out, that we get to learn more and more about the inner workings of these businesses. And just this is a big change, a big shift in the gaming industry, where all these companies are trying to bolster themselves. They're trying to position themselves for the future. Believe it or not, one thing that the CMA I do think has right is that cloud gaming is the future. Not that I'm a cloud gaming fan. Like I rarely use Xbox cloud gaming. I use it on my Steam Deck. Probably that's the place I use it the most. But I much rather download games. I much rather have a console than play through the cloud. Like 99% of the time. But the future of the industry, I think, definitely is going towards cloud gaming. So that's one thing the CMA had right. They're trying to protect that future, but I don't see how blocking this deal really protects that future with 10-year deals that were on the table. When now Microsoft has a bunch of cash and they have all this money that they get to go out and make more exclusive deals, where these smaller bring your own game cloud streaming services, where you have to get the games that you bought. Now Microsoft may not be so inclined to offer their first party stuff on those services, or maybe make deals with third parties where they're like, in terms of cloud gaming, we want it exclusive to our cloud gaming platform. Maybe they can do stuff like that, which I think would be worse for gamers. Red 199 super chat. Are we still blaming Sony for this deal? Are we blaming Sony? I don't think blaming Sony is the right, or blaming is the right word. I think Sony was the biggest opponent of this deal. And I said earlier in the stream, I don't know if you're here, I said you got to give kudos to them for doing what they had to do for their business. So blaming them? No, but they were obviously had played a major role in getting this deal blocked, right? If Sony wasn't there, if Sony wasn't complaining, would this deal be going through right now? That's the question you got to ask yourself. I'm not sure. I don't know how much Sony plays a role in cloud gaming. Not very much. So maybe it would still be being blocked, because I feel like they kind of threw out most of Sony's arguments when it came to the console theory of harm, where they said they wouldn't affect consoles. So I feel like at that point, they kind of looked at Sony as where they took Sony into account more. But at the same time, Sony was arguing that, like, if I read through those documents, I have streams of reading through the entire CMA documents. Sony argued that, like, if Call of Duty wasn't given to them, then they wouldn't even, there would be no, or if Call of Duty was taken off their platform, there would be no reason to even have PlayStation Plus. It would destroy their entire business, which Microsoft offered Call of Duty and other Activision games on PlayStation Plus, and they offered it day and date. So are they to blame? They played a role, of course. They definitely played a role in the decision. They were the main opponent. The CMA listened to what they had to say, all that stuff. They obviously played a role, but are they to fully blame? Sony was doing what they had to do to protect their business. People can hate Sony all they want, but that's what they were doing. At the end of the day, Jim Ryan did his job. Microsoft's got to come back and do their job, right? What are they going to do with all that cash if this deal falls through? One thing I will say is that I feel like if you're on Xbox right now and you play on their console or you play via PC, how much more resources do you want them investing in this when their main thing here is for mobile? At what point are they going to start ostracizing their core gaming fan base? That's the question I think that needs to be answered. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. I appreciate you all coming out. Appreciate everybody in the chat. I hope everyone's having a good day. Again, this is just business from big corporations. Don't let it affect your day too much. It's just fun to talk about. But I will catch you guys. And again, 7 p.m. tonight, the Xbox International podcast. I will make a community post. We'll be on there talking about stuff. So if you guys want to get more of this chat, we will be talking about it on that podcast. And yeah, there is a lot more, probably going to be a lot more stuff coming out in the next couple of days. So stay tuned. I appreciate everyone stopping by. And I will catch you guys in the next video, next stream, or whatever. I hope everyone has a great day. I'll see you later.